Hi, this is Charlie Boxing Focus, and it's the day of the weigh-in for Mayweather Pacquiao. I still haven't put a prediction video online yet. It's because I keep on re-recording it. I'm never happy or satisfied, and I've changed my mind a few times as well. So it's going to be a late one. But for now, as a follow-up to having watched the Q&A sessions that Mayweather Senior and Freddie Roach did yesterday, I've been thinking about the psychology. I mean, these are a lot of thoughts that I've had for some time now, but I mean, it's kind of frustrating to watch a lot of the coverage. The Stephen A. Smith going overboard, going, "Oh, I think you're thinking knockout." All this kind of rubbish. Every single Mayweather fight they've taught knockout. Every single one. It's just bluster from the camp. It's bluster. I mean, maybe, these guys that go into the fight confident, their corners go into the fight confident. They expect to win, and they expect to win by knockout. And then it doesn't happen. Well, they say, "Well, I tried," or that it just didn't go down that way, or whatever. I mean, it's the same with Manny Pacquiao's camp. I'm not fingering Mayweather's camp for this. Manny Pacquiao's camp every single time they say how much faster and how much harder hitting he is. I take it more as an indication that things are going all right in camp, if nothing else. I don't take anything else away from it. But that aside, I do think there's a lot of projection going on. I think there generally is when the different people are interacting. Projection is one of the most common things in terms of seeing what a person actually feels and thinks. Just like untrustworthy people project that lack of trust onto others. It's happening. It's happening in the build up to this fight. I mean, Mayweather's talking about how Pacquiao's scared of him. Well, it's funny because Pacquiao's not the one with videos online. I mean, you must have seen that video. You know the one I'm talking about. That "I'm a rich coward" one. I mean, forget the rich coward thing at the end. That's more him just going overboard. At the beginning of the video, he's talking about how the hell Manny Pacquiao walked through Cotto's punches, how the hell he knocked out Cotto, how he's just gone up to welterweight and blown everybody away, and how big his head is getting, and basically how he must be cheating because there's no way he could be so strong and tough and heavy-handed if he wasn't. And then it was kind of the source of the whole PED fallout. Floyd Mayweather never wanted to clean up the sport until he felt there was somebody out there who was cheating because that person was better than him. I mean, take away from that what you will. There's an argument to be had that if person plus 10% is better than me, then that can't be possible. What? Because you've got that extra 10% from performance enhancing drugs? I mean, but anyway, I'm not even going to go down that road. I mean, the whole performance enhancing drugs thing is a complete joke anyway. I mean, let's not start on how many times Pacquiao's been tested. Roach said 12 times they've turned up to the gym, and we've not heard about a single test from Floyd Mayweather's camp. Floyd Mayweather Senior stood up there in this Q&A session, said he didn't know, had no idea. So we don't even know if Floyd's been tested once. It's a bit strange that we would not have been told about that, but anyway, let's just assume that he has, give them the benefit of the doubt. The testing during camps is not that meaningful. If it's going to be meaningful, it has to be year-round. Floyd Mayweather turned up to camp in tremendous shape. He was ripped. He had a six-pack already. Now, I'm not that cynical. I don't necessarily think that if a guy who's constantly in shape must be taking some kind of steroids. I'm happy to give him the benefit of the doubt. But really, if you want to be cleaning up the sport, he should have been doing year-round testing. Because he could have been taking steroids, he could have been taking whatever the latest designer drug is, and then cycled off of it and then begun camp. when the random testing kicks in. You know, at least it looked for Manny Pacquiao, who was a bit fleshy around the waist when he started camp. At least it looks like he definitely wasn't doing anything in the off season. But still, yeah, that whole PED thing, absolute. I won't say a farce, but it's not particularly. It's a red herring. It's a big red herring, and again, the reason I bring it up, you know, talking about the Mayweather camp would have us believe that Manny Pacquiao is scared, that Freddie Roach is scared. These, you know, that they were the ones, that Team Mayweather were the ones that wanted this fight. It's just not true. Floyd Mayweather's on record with 101 excuses. He's the one that was saying how unbelievable Manny Pacquiao's performances were and how he demanded drug tests, unprecedented in the sport at the time. Let's not forget, I mean, there's always been drug testing to a degree in modern boxing. You know, it's not like Pacquiao's never been drug tested in his career. He was giving blood before the Eric Morales fight in which he lost, for example, and other fights as well for drug testing. So it's not like drug testing is this new thing, but this Olympic-style random drug testing, which I kind of approve of. If it was year-round, definitely approve of it. But Mayweather put these demands on Pacquiao because he thought Pacquiao could not be that good unless he was cheating. So he is, to some degree, worried about Manny Pacquiao. I'm not going to say scared, but he's worried. He was worried then, and it will still be somewhere. There'll be a nagging thought in his mind. It will still be there. You know, he really didn't want this fight. He put it off for 5+ years. All right. A year or so of that, Pacquiao was recovering from losing to Marquez and whatever black mark he got from the controversial loss to Timothy Bradley. But in general, Mayweather was the one that did not want this fight, and the Mayweather fans who would pretend otherwise, I don't know what to say to you guys. So going into this fight, Mayweather's going in, and he looks confident, and I've no trouble believing that he is confident. But let's not forget, Chris Algieri was fucking confident going into the fight with Manny Pacquiao. Remember, it was the Chris Algieri show. That kid was in his cage, and he was just about to be let out of it when disaster struck. So, you know, confidence is not a particularly decent barometer of anything, unless you can see that they're lacking it, of course. As a Manny Pacquiao fan, the one thing that I would say, you know, when Mayweather's going on about different things, and he keeps on bringing up the random blood and urine testing, etc., he keeps on going on about that stuff. When he's going on about that stuff, that's what I like to see as a Manny Pacquiao fan, because that shows that he's kind of worried. He's kind of, you know, he's still figuring things out in his head. When he relaxes and he smiles and he starts enjoying himself, that's when I think, right, that guy's got it together. So that, you know, if I was a Mayweather fan, the more relaxed side of Mayweather is what I want to see. And I don't think he was overly relaxed at the press conference during the week. He seemed to get more relaxed after the face-off and everything had been done and dusted. But then again, it's a big event, you know, and it's not just him as a boxer that's at work here. Obviously, his promotional company is heavily involved. There's a lot of factors. But psychology-wise, the fact that he's trying to project this aura of fear onto Manny Pacquiao, for me, is something that makes me think that Mayweather's still slightly worried. And let's not forget, this is not a guy who has fought lots of fast, mobile, heavy-handed guys before. He's either fought people that are going to box with him, or people that are kind of flat-footed and one-dimensional. He's got a much trickier puzzle in front of him in Manny Pacquiao, and he must know it. He must have seen the fights. He must know it. I mean, you know, going back to Floyd Mayweather Sr.'s press conference, he was asked what Manny Pacquiao's best performance was, and he, you know, rather childishly retorted, "Oh yeah, when he got stretched by Juan Manuel Marquez." But in a way, that was one of Pacquiao's better fights. I think Mayweather Sr. wasn't trying to, he wasn't seriously suggesting Pacquiao looked good in that fight. I think he was trying to mock Pacquiao. But Pacquiao was looking really dangerous in that fight. He was busting Marquez up. Marquez's face was breaking up. It was falling apart. And Mayweather must watch these fights. He must see the state that Timothy Bradley was in after both of those fights. I mean, he could barely walk. He'd been attempting so much movement just to avoid getting hit. He must have heard the interviews where you got Bradley talking about with the lights flickering, and he must have seen Pacquiao dealing with somebody with such a long reach advantage and dropping them like he did with Algieri. He must have seen, the way Mosley went down with that look in his eye, saying, "What the hell hit me?" I mean, he must have seen Margarito, one of the biggest, toughest guys in the sport, somebody Cotto could not dent, wincing and staggering as he was driven backwards by Pacquiao's ferocity. He must have seen these things. There's no way that Mayweather hasn't watched Manny Pacquiao footage prior to this fight. He's pulling out all the stops in order to put on his best performance. And there is something in there. Mayweather has been fighting a few southpaws recently. You talk about Victor Ortiz and Robert Guerrero. I think partly is kind of as preparation for Pacquiao, or perhaps more just to juxtapose that he has no problem with southpaws to the general public. But they were nothing like the calibre of Pacquiao. Now, he didn't have any problem with Guerrero or Ortiz, but they were not doing the kind of things to give him problems. Ortiz was coming to his right around the outside of Mayweather, which was allowing Mayweather just to use his shoulder roll style, because Ortiz was throwing his left hand from the kind of position that an orthodox fighter may throw their right hand. He wasn't coming around to attack Mayweather from a more square-on position like Pacquiao will. Guerrero's performance was horrible. He wasn't throwing any right hooks. He wasn't really... he basically tried to rough Mayweather up, saw that he was not going to be able to do that, and stood there in front of Mayweather just staring at him for however many rounds. But, going back to the psychology of it, Pacquiao seems to be relaxed. That's what we like to see, smiling. He's enjoying himself. He seems to enjoy these big fights. He seems to enjoy having a bit of a tear-up as well. Mayweather will be confident. I'm not trying to say he doesn't think that he will win. Of course he thinks he will win. Of course he believes he's the best ever. That's why he was so taken aback at Pacquiao's performances / the adulation he received, the awards and the acknowledgement by the boxing community. Because he feels he is better, and he almost feels he should not have to prove it by fighting Pacquiao. He feels that he should not be put in the same bracket as Pacquiao, because Pacquiao has lost. Pacquiao has been knocked out. He does have 5 losses on his record. You can analyse careers, and you can say, Pacquiao came up a different route. He didn't have the red carpet rolled out for him like Mayweather did. He started much younger. He fought, I would say, a higher calibre of opposition on average. But he still has been beaten, and Mayweather hasn't. So he will feel that he's the one who's going to win this fight. But there is an element of worry in there. And if you don't think there is, I think you're pulling the wool over your eyes. Just go watch that interview back that I was talking about before, the Rich Coward one, and any number of videos where Floyd Mayweather's reeling off excuse after excuse. Anyway, this is Charlie with Boxing Focus. That's enough about the psychology. Next up will be my prediction video. I'm really looking forward to the fight now. Although I don't think it's going to be a classic. It will be good. Anyway, thanks for listening.